Welcome to this episode of Locked In. Have you ever wondered, is the actual max tire recommendation for your frame set actually what you can put on there? So today I decided to test that theory, and if you haven't seen this review already, this is the Poseidon Redwood. I have a full review for this bike on my channel. Make sure to check that in the description below. And this bike is rated for a 27.5 by 2.5 tire. I decided to order up some 2.6s, put them on my ultralight Industry 9 wheel set, pop them on the bike and see if they clear. So if you're interested in upsizing your tires on your bike, please stay tuned. So as you can see here, this is the stock wheel set that comes with this bike. This is a 27.5 by 2.3, and they do come on a very generously widthed wheel set. These are gonna be 30 mil internal. And for number's sake, for anybody who's wondering, my industry wheels actually aren't the same internal rim width, meaning that it isn't going to plop that 2.6 tire as wide as it possibly could be. I am looking for an upgraded, affordable wheel set to put on this bike later, so make sure to hit that notification button so you can see what wheel set that is later down the line. So keep in mind, these are a slightly skinnier wheel set at a 25 internal versus a 30 internal. So let's pop those things on. And as you can see in this footage here, I am mounting these to, again, my Industry 9 ultralight 650B wheels. I am going to be using the rotors I already have on there, so I am going to have to realign the calipers, but as you can see, that tire beat it up nice and proper, and you can see how beefy this is. Now this is rated at a enduro or a downhill tire from Pateron. I do have a, hopefully, fingers crossed, cool bike packing trip coming up in December that, as long as I don't need surgery for my shoulder because I fractured it, I will be doing. And I heard the terrain is very loose and sandy, so I wanted a really aggressive tire for this trip. So this is what I went with, and I will be doing a full review of these tires after that trip as well, maybe beforehand if I get a lot of miles on them. The last thing we have to do, since I am again swapping wheel sets, is swap over that 10-speed rear cassette onto my Industry 9 wheels. If I was going to just simply replace onto the stock wheels, obviously I wouldn't have to retune the calipers or swap the cassette over. I would just be changing the tires out. And since these tires are heavier than the stock tires that come on these stock wheels, I decided to go with my a little bit lighter wheel set. I believe the overall weight is going to be honestly identical, which is kind of sad, but I wanted a thick, durable casing, and any kind of enduro trail tire is going to be on the heavier side versus like an XC tire. So we're going to be into the front wheel first. I'm not really worried about this because of how much gap this bike actually has. The rear is typically, for most frames, where you're going to have potentially the most issues if you're starting to push the limits of what the max tire is on that. And oh yeah, plenty of space. And as you can see, there's plenty of gap there and mud clearance on both sides of the tire. This is going to totally work out fine and be exactly what I wanted. Obviously there's some brake rub, I need to readjust the caliper, but there is tons and heaps of mud clearance there. Super excited. Now let's see if the back works. And we totally have clearance for this. I'll cut to a close-up in just a second, but we have zero rubbing on the frame. So as you can see there is plenty of room for mud clearance. Now obviously if it was a super crazy bad weather, I would size down the tire, but you can see on both sides there is plenty of room that I wouldn't worry about that at all. Even if your wheel came out of true, even by a little bit, you'd still have some wiggle room, and obviously you have plenty of gap here. So as you can see, 2.6s on these rims definitely do fit, and I'm really excited to try it. These are the biggest tires I've ever run on a bike I've owned personally. I have run similar size on a full suspension XC bike before, but nothing that I ever personally owned. So I'm really excited to try these trail tires out and see the massive amount of grip that it looks like I'm gonna be able to get out of these. Again, full review of these tires are going to be coming out on the channel, so make sure to hit that notification button. And please stay tuned because I also am going to be working more on this Poseidon Redwood and doing a flat bar conversion. Basically, I'm going to be calling it my gravel bike into a 90s mountain bike series. I'm going to be flat bar converting this, adding a few other touches, but this was definitely the start to that, trying to see how much meat I can fit into this frame set to make it as plush as possible, since essentially it's going to be a rigid 90s mountain bike hardtail. So I hope you like this. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Links are in the description below, as well as a link for my Spreadshirt with my cool Locked In merch, as well as Patreon links, so you can help support this channel so I can do this full time. And I do offer cool bike consultations at the top 2 tier levels. And lastly, thanks for watching another episode of Locked In.